You might think ancient sounds are just for meditation, tones played by monks or mystics in quiet temples long ago. But what if these ancient vibrations held the key not just to calm, but to truly transformative sleep? What if sound itself could synchronize your brain, calm your body, and open the door to the deepest rest imaginable? Tonight, we'll travel through the hidden world of frequencies, from the slow, powerful waves that carry you into delta sleep, to the ethereal rhythms that ancient civilizations once believed connected them to the divine. This isn't folklore. This is science rediscovered. And as you listen, your own mind will begin to slow. Your breathing will find its rhythm. Your body will remember what rest is meant to feel like. Let's begin your journey into sound. The slow descent into stillness. Somewhere beyond the noise of the day, beyond the patterns of thought that cling to waking hours, there is a field of stillness. It waits quietly, patient, unchanging, a constant presence beneath the layers of movement that make up life. When night arrives, that stillness begins to surface. It rises softly, like mist through trees, or the low hum of a faraway ocean. The body feels it first, a subtle gravity that draws every muscle downward. The mind follows reluctantly at first, then willingly, like a traveler recognizing home. The human brain, though unseen, begins to change its language. It moves from the sharp, staccato rhythm of wakefulness into something slower, broader, deeper. A shift that is not forced, but remembered. Each thought becomes longer, like a ripple stretching outward on a quiet pond. Each breath becomes slower, expanding through the chest, then folding back inward, effortless like waves returning to shore. Sleep is not a switch, but a transition, a graceful turning of invisible gears within the mind. And sound, ancient and modern alike, speaks directly to those gears. This hour is a study of that language, the language of waves. Not the waves of oceans, though the two are kin, but the waves of the human mind. The hidden oscillations of electricity and emotion that dance beneath consciousness, shaping how we feel, think, and dream. In every human being, the brain pulses with quiet electricity, billions of neurons firing in rhythm, forming a symphony of frequencies. When we are awake and alert, those frequencies move quickly, fast ripples called beta waves. They are the signature of focus, of calculation, of effort. They belong to the world of daylight, problem solving, planning, doing. But the night invites another tempo. As attention softens, the brain drifts into alpha, slower, smoother the rhythm of calm wakefulness, of creativity, of the space between thought and dream. Deeper still, beyond alpha, lies theta, the rhythm of reverie, the dreamlike pulse that comes when the mind releases its grip on the present. Here, imagination unfolds without effort. Memories and visions mix freely. Artists, mystics, and those lost between waking and sleep have always known this place. And beneath it all, at the foundation of consciousness itself, lies delta, the slow, rolling current of deep sleep. Here the brain no longer races or reflects. It simply restores. In delta, the body repairs tissue, balances hormones, and clears away the chemical shadows of thought. It is a cellular dawn happening every night within the quiet theater of the mind. This invisible dance, from beta to alpha, from theta to delta, happens to every living person every night. And yet, Until recently, its rhythms were unknown, its science hidden behind the veil of rest. Ancient cultures did not name these frequencies with letters, but they felt them. They played flutes and drums, not just for ceremony, but for alignment, for a slow drumbeat could quiet a village into trance. A resonant chant could still the body as though time had paused. Long before electricity, people understood that sound could open the doorway to stillness. The modern world has rediscovered that doorway, though it looks different now. We call it neural entrainment, the process by which external rhythms synchronize the internal rhythms of the brain. When the ear hears a steady pattern, the neurons mirror it. The brain listens, then follows, as if remembering an older order of peace. It is not hypnosis nor control, but resonance. The same principle that makes a glass vibrate when a singer strikes the right note. The brain, too, vibrates, not audibly, but electrically. When one listens to tones or binaural pulses designed to echo the frequency of alpha, theta, or delta waves, something remarkable happens. The body relaxes without instruction. The breath deepens. The inner monologue, that ceaseless hum of self, begins to thin like mist under sunlight. And as the body softens, the listener drifts, not because of the sound itself, but because of what the sound reminds the mind to do, to return home. Imagine a forest at night. The air is cool, damp with memory. Somewhere distant, water moves over stone, a slow trickle, irregular yet constant. Above, the wind hums through the leaves in long, low tones, never rushing, only circling. And beneath it all, in the background of perception, there is silence, vast and patient. This is what alpha feels like, the first threshold of letting go. From this space, thought becomes observation. The world within the mind begins to mirror the stillness of the world outside. Awareness remains, but it no longer clings. In this gentle descent, science meets poetry. Neurons pulse at about 8 to 12 cycles per second, the alpha rhythm, and the body interprets it as calm. It is measurable, repeatable, universal. Yet, to the one experiencing it, it feels like peace. And peace, though quantifiable, remains the most intimate of miracles. Scientists once believed sleep was a passive state, a switch turned off at night. But modern research reveals the opposite. Sleep is an active, rhythmic process guided by waves that speak in frequencies. It is less like shutting down a machine and more like tuning an orchestra. Each stage, each wave, has its own melody. The alpha waves of relaxation, the theta waves of dreams, the delta waves of deep repair, and above them all, occasionally bursts of gamma, fast, luminous frequencies associated with insight and integration. Even in sleep, the brain is composing. Sound connects to these waves because sound is wave. It is the same language spoken across different mediums, one through air, one through neurons. When the two meet, when external vibration finds internal rhythm, the system aligns. The brain hears harmony and responds in kind. This is why the hum of rain, the crackle of fire, or the drone of distant thunder so easily cradle the human mind into sleep. They carry no meaning, no words to interpret, only frequency. And in that pure rhythm, the thinking self dissolves. There is beauty in understanding, but greater beauty in surrender. And surrender, at its truest, is not defeat, it is alignment. It is the realization that the body already knows what peace feels like. When the conscious mind steps aside, the deeper intelligence of the brain takes over. The hypothalamus lowers temperature. The heart slows its pace. The muscles loosen their grip. The neurons begin their nightly migration from beta to delta, guided by the pull of circadian rhythm, an ancient tide written in every cell. All of this unfolds quietly. There is no announcement, no sound of transformation, only the gradual disappearance of effort. It begins with awareness of the breath. Not the instruction to breathe, but the noticing of breath already happening. Air moving in, air moving out. A cycle that has never once required permission. Around it, the heartbeat continues its patient drum. The same rhythm that once echoed through amniotic waters long before words. Sound and body have been entwined since the beginning. Each beat, each breath is proof. Within the brain, electrical fields respond. Microscopic oscillations synchronize with the body's movements. Neurotransmitters shift. Serotonin gives way to melatonin, the chemical dusk of consciousness. The eyelids grow heavier, the edges of thought blur. The transition is both chemical and cosmic, a biological ritual older than language. And through it all, sound remains, not as a guide commanding direction, but as a witness to what the body already knows. In deep meditation traditions, it is said that the sound of the universe, the eternal hum, the OM, is not just a symbol, but a literal vibration. It is the frequency of existence itself, woven through every atom, every heartbeat, every silence. Modern physics, too, whispers a similar truth, that matter and energy are inseparable waves pulsing through space and time. The human mind, then, is both receiver and transmitter, capable of hearing and creating harmony. Every thought has a frequency, every emotion a tone, and in sleep, those tones return to balance. Somewhere inside this balance, consciousness releases its grip on identity. The brain ceases to narrate and begins to dream. Dreams are not chaos, they are compositions, shaped by the same oscillations that govern waking thought, but freed from logic's cage. In dreams, sound becomes vision, emotion becomes landscape. The theta state transforms inner rhythm into imagery, memory, and story. The subconscious speaks in the only language it remembers fully, vibration, and yet the listener, you, me, all who rest, are not lost in this process. We are being refined by it. Each night, each cycle through alpha, theta, and delta recalibrates the nervous system. It is both cleansing and creative. Science now reveals that during deep sleep, the brain's glymphatic system flushes out toxins accumulated through wakefulness. Neurons shrink slightly, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to wash between them, a slow tidal cleaning that only occurs during delta. It is as if the brain itself breathes, inhaling silence, exhaling clarity. Sound, when tuned to these low frequencies, doesn't just accompany this process, it enhances it. EEG studies show that low-frequency vibrations can reinforce the natural delta rhythm, deepening the state of rest. In that harmony, sleep becomes not escape but renewal. So, as this first hour unfolds, the tone of the narration becomes the tone of the brain itself. A gradual deceleration, a gentle descent. Each word is less an idea and more a vibration. Each pause an invitation to drift deeper into the rhythm that has been waiting since the day began. Beyond thought, beyond effort, beyond even understanding, the brain continues its quiet music, the song that has never stopped playing, only forgotten by daylight. Sleep, then, is not the end of consciousness. It is the turning of consciousness inward, toward its source. And sound is the key that fits the lock. Now the body rests in that awareness. The mind observes itself becoming still. And in this stillness, the hidden language of the brain begins to speak, not in words, but in waves. The movement within the mind continues, subtle and unseen, a current that deepens as thought releases its shape. No edges remain. Ideas dissolve into faint impressions, then into patterns of rhythm and pulse. This is the threshold where consciousness begins to turn inward, the boundary where observation meets origin. The brain, immersed in this slow tide, hums with organized quiet. Each neuron fires in relation to its neighbor, their timing forming waves of gentle electricity that spread across the cortex like ripples from a pebble dropped in still water. It is a choreography too complex to imagine, yet precise enough to sustain awareness itself. Within this precision, a question lingers. What is awareness made of? If the body is the instrument, and sound the vibration, then awareness must be the resonance between the man, echo born of both matter and movement. In this place, as the waves slow, awareness listens to itself. Patterns once sharp become fluid. The borders between thought and feeling blur. A sense of continuity emerges, as if the mind were one long note held through changing chords of time. And within that note lies the memory of countless nights, each one a rehearsal for letting go. The body, too, remembers. Every cell has known the rhythm of rest since its beginning. When darkness falls and light withdraws, the body initiates its ancient rituals. Temperature lowers, muscles release tension, the heartbeat finds a quieter measure. The pineal gland, responding to the absence of light, secretes melatonin, the chemical poet of sleep. And deep within the brainstem, the reticular formation adjusts its tone, reducing the intensity of sensory signals. The external world fades, replaced by an interior landscape, vast and unmeasured. In this landscape, there is no up or down, no distance, only vibration. Thought becomes texture. Memory becomes movement. The self-what in waking life feels so solid and folds into waves that overlap and merge. This unfolding is not loss. It is restoration. The boundaries that separate mind from matter soften until they become transparent. Electrical rhythms shift again. Alpha gives way to theta. In the theta range, the frequency of neural oscillation slows to between 4 and 8 cycles per second. Science observes this with instruments and graphs. The body experiences it as depth, as surrender. Here the mind drifts between waking and dreaming. It is not yet lost to the world, but it no longer governs it. Theta is the realm of imagery and intuition, the bridge between conscious choice and the spontaneous creation of the subconscious. Within it, memories reassemble themselves, not as facts, but as symbols. Scenes from the day blend with echoes of years long past. The mind paints its own fresco on the walls of silence. In these patterns, learning is consolidated. The brain reviews its experiences. strengthens useful pathways, erases noise. During this slow oscillation, the hippocampus communicates with the neocortex, transferring short-term impressions into long-term storage. Each pulse of theta acts as a courier of memory, carrying fragments of experience into the vast library of self. And yet, the one who dreams is unaware of this labor. To the observer within, it feels like floating, like wandering through scenes without destination. Theta turns thought into story. Every dream, every flash of imagination is an expression of that rhythm. This is where sound finds its most intimate ally. The human ear, though seemingly still, continues to sense vibration even in sleep. Low frequencies travel through bone and tissue, resonating within the inner ear's labyrinth. These vibrations do not awaken, they harmonize. The brain interprets them not as external noise, but as confirmation of its own rhythm. In this resonance, stability is achieved. The dream continues undisturbed, carried on the same frequency that sustains rest. If one could see the brain at this moment, it would resemble a vast landscape of slow-moving waves, crests of synchronized firing rolling gently across regions that govern emotion, memory, and perception. Between these crests lie valleys of near-silence moments when billions of neurons rest. This alternation of activity and stillness is the neurological heartbeat of restoration. The mind no longer measures time here. Seconds and minutes become irrelevant. What matters is the continuity of rhythm, the even spacing of cycles that the body interprets as safety. Safety allows surrender. Surrender allows healing. Every night this occurs, unnoticed, while the world outside continues its own cycles. Each organism participates in this universal rhythm, the plant closing its leaves, the tide retreating from shore, the bird folding into feathered stillness. In this way, sleep is not isolation but reunion, a return to the pulse shared by all living systems. Even in laboratories, where sensors trace these waves across screens, the data tells a quiet truth. The more coherent the rhythm, the deeper the restoration. Disrupted patterns, stress, light, noise fracture the waves, and rest becomes shallow. But when coherence returns, when the frequencies align, the system repairs itself with elegance. Coherence is harmony, and harmony is health. Every biological process, from the firing of neurons to the beating of the heart, seeks it. When found, the entire organism hums in agreement, and so the listener drifts further, guided not by intention but by resonance. Awareness thins, yet perception deepens. The body lies still, but within. A quiet storm of organization continues, cells communicating through chemical whispers, neural circuits refining their architecture. Dreams begin to gather at the horizon of thought, preparing their slow ascent. To witness this process, even internally, is to glimpse the intelligence that underlies rest. Sleep is not the absence of consciousness. It is consciousness turned toward its foundation, exploring itself through pattern and pulse. Each wave is both question and answer, both call and response. The mind speaks in oscillations, and the body listens. The dialogue has no words. It is pure relationship, frequency meeting frequency, phase meeting phase, like dancers moving without music because they have become the music itself. As theta deepens, its amplitude increases, each crest higher, each trough wider. The brain is preparing for delta, the slowest and most powerful rhythm, the wave of complete surrender. But before it arrives, there is a moment of exquisite balance. Awareness hovers on the edge, neither fully here nor fully gone. It is the pause between inhalation and exhalation, between sound and silence. Within that pause lies an ancient intelligence, one that predates thought or language. It is the memory of the organism's first rhythm, the pulse of life itself before the mind learnt to name it. In that memory, all systems synchronize. Heart, lungs, neurons all obey the same tempo, a slow dance toward equilibrium. And as equilibrium emerges, so does stillness. Not the stillness of emptiness, but a fullness of stillness that contains motion so subtle it appears at rest. It is the moment before the final descent into deep sleep, the calm before delta unfolds. Here, the inner architecture of sound and brainwave are nearly identical. Both are expressions of pattern through time, measured in frequency, defined by repetition. In listening to rhythm, the brain recognizes itself. That recognition is comfort, and comfort is the doorway to surrender. The descent begins quietly, so quietly that the mind almost doesn't notice. Breath slows. The air between thoughts grows wider, softer. Each exhale becomes a release, a letting go not just of tension, but of identity itself. Delta waves emerge slow, immense, tidal. They move through the brain like deep ocean currents, vast and deliberate. At less than 4 cycles per second, they reshape the landscape of consciousness. Here, neurons no longer chatter in complex networks. They move together as one organism, unified by rhythm alone. This is the sleep of renewal, the realm where body and mind are indistinguishable. In Delta, the boundaries of self dissolve entirely. The sleeper becomes process, not personal living system, engaged in its most essential work, restoration. Cortisol levels drop. Growth hormone rises. The immune system recalibrates, repairing microscopic injuries, strengthening resistance. Within the brain, glial cells expand and contract, clearing metabolic waste, washing the neural tissues in a cleansing flow of cerebrospinal fluid. This nightly cleansing is as necessary as breath. It keeps thought itself from clouding. Science calls this homeostasis, but in the language of stillness, it is balance restored. Each cell hums its own frequency, tuned to the deeper rhythm of delta, all in synchrony. The heartbeat follows, then the breath, until the entire organism becomes one vibration of life resting in its own trust. Within this depth, dreams take on a different texture. They are no longer narratives or visions. They are impressions of movement, emotion without story. The dreamer experiences them not as separate scenes, but as tides of sensation, warmth, weightlessness, distance, return. These are not dreams of the mind. They are dreams of the body. Somewhere, the conscious observer still flickers faintly, sensing the magnitude of this stillness. It does not analyze, it beholds. It feels the enormity of rest, the generosity of it, as if the universe itself were exhaling through the body. Outside, night deepens. The planet turns beneath constellations that have watched over sleep for eons. Wind moves through leaves, waves break and withdraw, all in the same unhurried rhythm. Sleep it seems, is not isolation from the world, but participation in its grander tempo. Everything rests together. The ancients spoke of this state not as mere slumber, but as communion. They understood that sound and silence, breath and pulse, light and darkness all were languages of the same truth, that renewal is found not in doing, but in allowing. Allowing life to move through you, allowing stillness to become the teacher. It is here that the myth of ancient sounds transforms into understanding. The chants, the low droning instruments, the rhythmic drums, they were not meant only for worship or ceremony. They were tools, precise and intuitive, designed to mirror the body's own descent into restoration. The steady drumbeat replicates the slowing heart. The chant sustains the rhythm of breath. The drone holds the mind's focus, preventing it from fracturing into distraction. In these vibrations, early humans found guidance toward the same delta stillness that sustains us now. They didn't have EEG machines, yet they knew how to listen. They felt the shift when rhythm aligned with being. In caves, temples, and open deserts, they created soundscapes that matched the body's internal tempo. And the body responded, as it always has, with surrender. This wisdom survived in fragments mantras in India, overtone chanting in Mongolia, monastic hymns in Europe, rain dances and lullabies across every culture. Different tongues, same purpose, to return the mind to rhythm, and rhythm to rest. Somewhere within us, this memory persists. When we hum, when we sway, when we listen to repetitive sound, we are remembering what it feels like to align with the pulse beneath thought. Now, in this quiet space, you can sense that same inheritance. You are not inventing calm, you are uncovering it. Beneath the noise of daily awareness, calm was always there, steady, unwavering, patient. The sound you hear, whether internal or external, is only a mirror of that constancy. As the mind drifts in delta's embrace, language loses meaning. Words become unnecessary. Even images fade. Only rhythm remains, and the soft awareness of being breathed, being held. The body is no longer something you control. It is something you inhabit lightly. It carries you deeper into rest than intention ever could. Time dissolves entirely. The concept of night or morning ceases to matter. There is only pulse and silence, alternating in infinite patience. In that patience, the organism thrives. Hours may pass in this single wave of delta. The body absorbs restoration at a level beyond conscious knowing. Proteins are synthesized. Memories are stabilized. The immune system reorganizes its defenses. Every function that sustains life is quietly optimized. The miracle of existence continues, unseen but certain. Eventually, the waves will shift again. As the body completes its cycle, theta will return, lifting awareness gently toward lighter dreaming. But for now, there is no need to anticipate, no need to move. The process knows its own timing. The rhythm knows its way home. You rest within the architecture of sound itself, sound that was never truly outside you, but always the echo of your own biology, harmonizing. The same rhythm that shapes galaxies shapes the pattern of your breath. The same silence between stars exists in the stillness between your heartbeat. You are not apart from the universe. You are its lullaby in miniature. In the deep stillness, this truth becomes experiential. not a belief, but a recognition. You feel yourself as part of the larger song, the unending hum of life, balancing itself over and over through every night of every age. The mind that began this journey, curious about ancient sounds, now understands they were never lost. They resonate still in the quiet chambers of the brain, in the pulsing of blood, in the rhythm of each exhale. The wisdom of sound was never a myth. It was memory waiting to be remembered. And as Delta continues its slow, gracious movement through you, that memory deepens. You do not need to hold it, repeat it, or understand it. You need only rest within it. Rest within the rhythm that is both ancient and entirely your own. Sleep becomes not an act, but a communion between frequencies, between moments, between the self and the world that breathes with it. In this communion, curiosity transforms into knowing, and knowing becomes peace. The sound fades, the rhythm slows further still. You drift, unmeasured, into the heart of silence. And there, in that infinite hush, the myth dissolves completely. Only reality remains quiet, whole, eternal. The science of sound sleep, the world of sleep, is both ancient and newly discovered. For thousands of years, people listened to rhythm as a guide to peace, never knowing that within the brain itself, another rhythm answered. Now, science catches up with intuition. Machines trace what the monks, the healers, and the dreamers once felt. That sound is not only heard, it is lived. Inside the skull, the brain pulses with electricity. Not static, not random, but patterned. Waves, alpha, theta, delta, delta, rise and fall. Each corresponds to a depth of consciousness, a dimension of rest and awareness intertwined. Alpha hovers at the threshold of calm focus when the mind loosens its grip yet remains awake. Theta carries the traveler deeper into the borderlands of dream. Delta anchors the voyage, a vast, slow sea where consciousness dissolves into repair. Every thought, every feeling, every flicker of imagination has a rhythm. The sound outside meets this rhythm inside. When both align, a resonance forms and the body listens. Consider binaural beats. Two tones, close but not identical, played one in each ear. The brain, ever seeking order, creates a third tone within itself. The difference between them: if the left ear hears 100 Hz and the right hears 104, the brain perceives a subtle rhythm of 4 Hz, a delta frequency. And in time, the mind begins to mirror it. The electrical waves of the cortex slow, following the tone as if it were a tide pulling them home. Isochronic tones work differently. Single pulses of sound repeating at fixed intervals. They do not whisper softly across hemispheres. They command attention with measured precision. Each pulse is a reminder, a beat that says, "Here is your rhythm, return to it." And slowly the nervous system obeys. Skeptics once dismissed these effects as imagination, yet research continues to uncover their quiet truth. Electroencephalographs reveal consistent entrainment, the synchronization of external sound and internal rhythm. Stress hormones drop. Heart rate steadies. Sleep deepens. Even waking focus sharpens, shaped by the same frequencies that cradled the brain at night. To the scientist, it is data. And both are right. These discoveries reveal that the body was never passive in sound. It was designed to respond. The ear is not merely an instrument of hearing, it is a portal to the nervous system. Every vibration that reaches it sends signals throughout the body, altering chemistry, shifting perception, shaping experience. Alpha waves, gentle and fluid, hover like the still surface of a lake. They appear when the eyes close, when thought drifts without purpose. Artists know them as the space of creation, meditators as the breath between breaths. Theta, slower still, hums beneath conscious thought. It is the current of insight, intuition, and dream. Delta is the ocean floor, silent, patient, restorative. To reach it is to return to the beginning. And so, the path of rest becomes not a fall into darkness, but a descent through music. The mind tuning itself through sound, adjusting to its most. Even silence plays its part. For silence is not the absence of sound, but the foundation that allows all vibration to exist. The pause between tones is what gives rhythm its power. The stillness between waves is what gives them meaning. In this understanding, science and spirituality finally touch. Both seek coherence, the harmony of systems working as one. Whether measured in hertz or felt in the chest, coherence is the signature of well-being. It is what every heartbeat, every breath, every neuron strives toward. And so, as you rest in the slow rhythm of this understanding, you realize that sound is not external at all. It is the bridge between mind and matter, between knowledge and wonder. Each tone, each wave, each breath carries you deeper into your own design. And beneath it all, the same truth hums softly. You are sound learning to rest in itself. Your path to profound rest. The journey toward rest does not end with sleep. It begins there. What happens in the quiet hours ripples through every waking moment. The rhythm that cradles you at night shapes the tone of your thoughts by day. It is the unseen music beneath awareness, a composition written in heartbeat, breath, and brainwave. When sleep deepens, the mind rewires. Memories find order. Emotions find space. What once felt tangled begins to align as though unseen hands were smoothing the fabric of thought. And in the morning, something subtle has changed. The world feels wider, colors softer, silence friendlier. This is the quiet signature of renewal. Long term, these rhythms carve new pathways through the nervous system. The brain learns that peace is possible. It begins to expect stillness instead of stress, coherence instead of noise. Like a river reshaping its bed, repetition deepens the channel. Each night of true rest makes the next one easier. In this way, sound becomes more than music. It becomes medicine. Not the kind measured in milligrams, but in moments. Moments when the pulse of sound and the pulse of self become indistinguishable. This medicine does not demand belief. It asks only for listening. Every frequency you invite into your rest carries intention. Low, steady tones nurture delta waves, the architects of deep repair. Gentle oscillations around theta open the doors of dream, where memory and imagination exchange gifts. Even the quietest hum can remind the body of balance. Through repetition, the brain learns this language until it no longer needs translation. And when that happens, peace becomes habitual. The line between waking calm and sleeping stillness blurs. You carry the night within you, a continuity of rhythm that sustains thought, emotion, and presence. You find yourself breathing differently, thinking differently, being differently. Science speaks of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reshape itself in response to experience. Every tone, every breath in stillness is a sculptor's touch upon that plastic mind. Where stress once ruled, harmony begins to settle. Where worry carved its grooves, peace fills them. The transformation is subtle but absolute. You do not become someone else. You become what you already are, beneath noise, coherent, balanced, whole. Sound doesn't change you, it reveals you. And through this revelation, rest becomes wisdom. The same quiet that renews the body also refines perception. Thoughts slow, but awareness sharpens. You begin to notice what was always present. The texture of silence between raindrops, the small music of your own breath, the pulse of your heartbeat as language. This noticing is the first step toward mastery. Not control, but cooperation with the natural flow of being. To sleep deeply is to trust deeply. To trust deeply is to live deeply. Each night, as the body drifts through its symphony of waves, it is rehearsing the art of surrender. Each morning, as you wake, it is teaching you how to return to the world without losing the music within. And over time, the boundary between rest and wakefulness softens into rhythm, a seamless oscillation of being. You become the instrument and the listener, the player and the song. And every vibration that touches you, even in silence, reminds you of the same simple truth. That peace was never something to find, only something to remember. The path to profound rest is not a straight road, it is a circle, returning always to breath, to vibration, to the quiet pulse beneath all thought. You have walked this path countless times, each night, each dream, each slow exhale back into stillness. And every time you walk it, the sound knows the way. So listen now, not with the ears, but with the whole of yourself. Let the rhythm you hear be the same rhythm you are. In this alignment, no distance remains between sound and silence, between self and sleep. There is only one awareness, resting in the calm it has always carried. You are not falling asleep, you are falling inward. And in that inward fall, you arrive not at absence, but at the deepest presence imaginable. A presence so vast it feels like peace, so gentle it feels like love, so still it feels eternal. The future of sleep, the horizon of rest, stretches farther than we once believed. What we call sleep may only be the beginning, an early chapter in the evolution of consciousness learning how to heal itself. In ancient times, sleep was sacred, guided by ritual and sound. Now, science rediscovers what intuition always knew, that within the stillness of night lies a map, a living architecture of rhythm and light, waiting to be understood. In laboratories across the world, instruments hum softly through the dark. Sensors trace waves of delta and theta, their shapes scrolling across monitors like silent tides. Each curve, each crest, tells a story of the mind in motion. Researchers watch patterns unfold that were once the domain of mystics, the luminous language of the sleeping brain. They see memory being born from silence. They see emotion being untangled and rewoven into calm. They see the nervous system recalibrating itself as if guided by an ancient intelligence older than thought. And as they watch, a realization emerges. The body does not simply sleep, it learns. Each night is a lesson in surrender. Each dream, a rehearsal for wholeness. Soon, the tools of sleep will mirror the music of the mind. Headsets will hum frequencies designed to match our neural rhythms. Beds will pulse with gentle vibration, simulating the slow undulation of delta waves. Rooms will breathe with us, lighting, temperature, and sound woven together like instruments in a symphony of restoration. But beyond technology lies something quieter, more profound. The future of sleep is not in machines, it is in memory. It is in remembering how to listen, how to surrender, how to trust the rhythm that has never failed us. Already, sound therapy evolves toward precision. Researchers speak of neuroacoustic entrainment, of harmonic modulation, of auditory. Yet beneath the language of innovation lies an ancient truth. Vibration heals because vibration is life. Every atom vibrates. Every cell sings. Every thought moves to rhythm. And when that rhythm falters, imbalance arises. When it aligns, health returns. The sleep of the future will not only restore, it will expand. Through sound, we will learn to navigate consciousness deliberately, gliding between waking and dreaming without the abrupt walls of separation. Sleep will become exploration. The dream state will be mapped, not as fantasy, but as territory of mind. And the same sounds that guide the body into rest will guide awareness into new frontiers of creativity, healing, and insight. Imagine lying beneath a canopy of tone so subtle it feels like breath. Sensors adjust in real time to your heartbeat, your temperature, your brain waves. As the body surrenders, the sound deepens, delta expands. Theta rises and falls in luminous symmetry. The system listens as you sleep, mirroring your rhythm, teaching your cells to hum in harmony. You are both subject and symphony. Yet even as technology refines, the essence remains simple, the sound of stillness itself. Perhaps the ultimate innovation will be learning to create silence again, to close the eyes, slow the breath, and hear the body's own frequencies singing in perfect time. The future may be digital, but the rhythm will always be biological. Every generation before us has sought peace in sound, through chant, through drum, through whisper and wave. Now, we seek the same through circuits and sensors, through the hum of quiet machines. Different tools, same longing, the wish to be held in rhythm, to find coherence in chaos. And always, sound answers. In the deep future, we may not even sleep as we do now. We may enter targeted states of restoration, guided by precisely tuned frequencies that allow the body to heal in minutes what once required hours. Sleep may become an art conscious, cultivated, and free of the borders we know today. But even then, at its heart, the process will remain what it has always been, the universe remembering itself through rhythm. As this vision unfolds, one truth persists. The most advanced technology is still the body itself. Its capacity to synchronize, to heal, to resonate, surpasses any machine we build. Every heartbeat remains the metronome of life. Every breath, a verse in the endless song of becoming. When science listens closely, it finds poetry. When the mind listens closely, it finds silence. And between those two, poetry and silence, sleep continues to teach. The night, at last, feels infinite, not because it stretches outward, but because it deepens inward. Sleep is not an end, but a return, a homecoming into the rhythm that has always waited beneath the noise of thought. When we imagine the future of sleep, we are really imagining the future of listening. For it is listening not merely with the ear, but with the whole of being that reconnects us to the intelligence that sustains us. In every quiet night, in every steady breath, that intelligence speaks, not in words, but in vibration. We are learning, slowly, to hear it again. Perhaps one day we will understand rest not as escape, but as dialogue. A conversation between the finite and the infinite, between the body, that temporary vessel of motion, and the silence that carries it. In this conversation, every frequency has meaning. Every pause has purpose. And the listener becomes both student and participant in the unfolding of life itself. In laboratories of tomorrow, we will see dream studies transform into symphonies of data and design. We will visualize the waves of the sleeping brain in colors and textures, mapping the unseen topography of consciousness. But beyond the charts and numbers, another realization will dawn, that the act of resting is an act of creation. Each night, as we drift, we are composing ourselves anew. Every slow oscillation writes a line of harmony into the score of existence. Already, this truth hums quietly through the field of human experience. Artists, scientists, and seekers alike are rediscovering that sound does not merely entertain, it restores. The frequencies we once dismissed as incidental are, in fact, the grammar of being. Every whisper of wind, every vibration of string, every echo of pulse, all of it is instruction, gently reminding the nervous system of its place in the vast, resonant whole. The future of sleep is not a distant dream. It is here in the rhythm that sustains you now. It is in this very breath, measured and unheard. It is in the balance between sound and silence, between what you hear and what you feel. Every listener who closes their eyes becomes a part of that future, contributing to the collective experiment of peace. And when billions sleep in coherence, when the rhythm of humanity aligns even for a moment, the world itself may shift. Imagine a planet resting together, exhaling chaos, inhaling calm. Cities would hum differently. Oceans would breathe differently. Even the wind might change its tone. For the earth, too, is an instrument vibrating through every life that walks upon it. In that vision, sound becomes not a cure, but a communion. A way of remembering that we are never truly separate, never truly still, only moving together through infinite rhythm. The dreamers of old would recognize this. They who chanted beneath the stars, who placed their ears to the earth and heard its slow heartbeat. They would see in our machines the same yearning they once carried in their songs, the desire to know the unnameable through vibration. Technology, for all its complexity, is simply a new form of listening, the same search through new instruments. And as this listening evolves, so too does consciousness. We will learn to guide dreams, to awaken within sleep, to merge waking thought with the fluid logic of the dream world. Creativity will no longer end at the borders of night. It will continue beneath the eyelids, where imagination runs unbound. This merging between sleep and wakefulness, between sound and silence, may become humanity's next evolution. But tonight, that future is already present. It lives in the rhythm of your heart. It hums quietly through your breath. It resonates in the field of mind, that vast ocean of subtle frequencies that no machine can fully measure. And as you drift, you are both witness and participant in the unfolding of that new horizon. The sound that guided you here now grows faint. Its edges soften until it becomes almost indistinguishable from the silence it arose from. Yet even in that silence, its shape remains the echo of harmony felt, not heard. It continues within you, like a quiet tide moving beneath the shore of awareness. Each wave of sleep is a conversation between what is known and what is infinite. Each dream, a question whispered to the cosmos, answered in rhythm. And when you awaken, the answer remains not as words, but as calm, as clarity, as presence. This is the future of sleep, to wake restored not only in body, but in perception, to hear the world as music again, to feel existence not as pressure, but as pulse, to live as if every breath were both sound and silence, perfectly in tune. The sound of the future is not louder, it is deeper. It is the sound of humanity remembering how to rest. It is the soft hum of life returning to coherence, one heartbeat at a time. And as this final wave carries you into stillness, you realize that sleep was never separate from waking, that sound was never separate from silence. They were two sides of the same truth, endlessly turning toward each other in the rhythm of being. You are the listener and the song. You are the silence and the wave. You are the dream and the dreamer, the vibration and the stillness between. And as the world exhales, you rest within that infinite pulse, timeless, weightless, whole. The rhythm continues, and you, at last, are home. Thank you for journeying with us tonight. If this experience brought you peace or deeper rest, let that calm ripple outward. Share it so others may find their stillness too. And if you wish to return to this space of sound and silence, remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, so that each new rhythm of rest may find you again, right where the night begins.